So I think, as you know, we have been kind of doing a weekly review of the paramis in these last couple months of the year. And this week, we are going to be revisiting the eighth parami, which is the parami of resolve. And honestly, resolve is not really the parami I most naturally gravitate towards. But Ajahn Sucitto says it's resolve that strengthens each of the other paramis. The strength and depth of our resolve is directly related to the strength and depth of our generosity, of our patience, of our equanimity, of our ethical conduct. So if you think of it this way, resolve is really foundational. It's the underpinning that moves our lives along this path. There certainly are times when these paramis come easily. Those moments when generosity or patience or kindness arise in us and flow very naturally. And as Susan would say, notice these moments and make much of them. It's the moment when it's hard, when we don't really want to be generous. We've given enough. Or we don't want to be patient because we're so full of impatience and frustration. Those are the moments that we call on resolve to remind us and to help us move forward in a positive way. And we really need resolve because this path isn't easy and it's counter to our culture. Sometimes we need to dig just a bit deeper inside ourselves to stay true to our aspirations and not get blown around by all the cultural messages. I once heard this analogy that might be helpful. Be steadfast in whatever beneficial resolution you make. As a rock, even while the wind beats upon it on every side, does not tremble nor quake, but remains in its own place. You must likewise be unshaken in your resolve. Often the synonym that's used for resolve is either determination or perseverance. And I think at some level, we all know these qualities. I actually have an image of myself with my head lowered, my eyes to the ground, maybe a little bit of a pursed brow, pushing forward step by step. That kind of determination or perseverance, it works. But there's a force to it that makes it feel a little brittle, it seems to me. We do make progress, but in the moments when we don't meet our expectations or intentions, we slip so easily into judging ourselves. We begin to break, we even to give up. So that sometimes resolve doesn't really feel sustainable. But the way I've recently heard it spoken of that I really like is resolve as wholehearted commitment, grounded in wholesome desire, not the desire based in ignorance that we speak about a lot, but based in wisdom, a desire to ease our suffering. And what I like about wholehearted commitment is that it brings the heart in, that our motivation is coming from our hearts, not just our heads. And our hearts know how to hold us when we don't meet our expectations. It sounds a little scary, wholehearted commitment. Like it's asking a lot of us, like we have no wiggle room. But it doesn't mean that we'll never falter or that we make the commitment and that's that. Just take a moment to think of anything you've committed to. It's a decision you have to revisit over and over again. Whether it's a marriage or a friendship, could be your work, it could be a sport that you love to play, or efforts towards social justice. We can get tired and complacent, and we can get distracted one way or another. And we can make mistakes, and then our commitment wanes. So wholehearted commitment is the returning and starting over again and again, without judgment or drudgery, but with a bit of wisdom. It's the wisdom that knows that this is the path you want to take and you want to recommit. It's the wisdom that knows that the path takes practice, small steps over and over. We have so many opportunities to return again. So there's no need to judge ourselves. Christina Feldman says that in this returning over and over, we have the opportunity to polish the paramis, to make them shine. I love that. Think of it in terms of the daily sit. There are so many of you that are regulars, coming most, if not every day, coming today. And I am sure that there are times when staying in bed or having another cup of coffee might be appealing. But you come, right? That's wholehearted commitment. And even on the cushion, when we watch the mind wander, when your storyline is strong and it's hard to settle, but you return time and again. And you return not in a dry and routine way or with a lot of judgments about how you just can't do this, but in an active and interested way, always trying out new ways of staying present. If I can't stay with breath, maybe I can stay with sounds. Or maybe I'll watch the restlessness in itself in my body. Experimenting with what works for you. That's wholehearted commitment too. Not giving up, just starting again and again. And we all know it's not easy. So I've been pondering how, if resolve can strengthen the paramis, what is it that strengthens our resolve? What is it that inspires us to wholeheartedly commit to ways of being and acting in the world that we don't always get a lot of support for, that take a lot of effort and that are hard to sustain? For each of us, it might be different, and it might be different at different times. Maybe it's a particular question you might pose to yourself a number of times through the day. I have a friend who's been asking herself, is this action wholesome? Is this action going to create more suffering or alleviate it? That's just a quick reminder of her resolve. Or maybe we strengthen our resolve by being with other people. Ajahn Suchito suggests that hanging out with people you respect and admire can be really helpful. And really, that's why we have the daily sit. We need Sangha. Being with others who have made a commitment helps us make a commitment. When we feel weaker, there's less of a feeling of being alone. I think of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and how that program has been so supportive to so many people. My friends who are in the program are really committed to attending meetings. And that's because AA understands that it takes community to have resolve, to make that decision every day not to drink. Maybe it's a particular moment in your day when something happens that strengthens your resolve. So let me tell a short story that really helped me. Just a few weeks ago, I was going to the hospital to have a hearing test. And I went to my appointment, and when I came out, I had parked in a parking garage. And I backed out of my parking space and was leaving the garage when I saw a piece of paper on the driver's side window. I rolled down the window and I got the paper and I read it. And it said, "You park like crap." And I burst out crying. I can now actually laugh a little bit, but at the time I was feeling a little raw, anyways. And this was just too much. This note hurt me. I was in a hospital parking lot of all places, right? What if I had been coming from a cancer infusion? Or what if I had just received bad news from my doctor? Or just left the bedside of a loved one? You know, that wasn't the case. I was just at a hearing test, and the note still hurt. How would this note have felt for somebody else? In that moment, I thought, I don't want to cause more pain in the world. I want to offer peace as much as possible. The world needs peace. And it's not just peace as in ending wars, which clearly we need, but peace in our relationships. It's so easy to cause pain. Even these small jabs, they can hurt. And I just kind of got it. So this funny little interlude helped me reflect and deepen my resolve to try to maintain a sense of peace in my interactions. And it moved me towards more reflection of the teachings, which is another way to strengthen resolve. I've started reading the Metta Sutta. It's that piece that goes, it begins, "This is what should be done by someone who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace." Sometimes I just repeat those lines to myself, savoring them, letting them rest in my heart, mostly to remind me that I can do this. And yes, I am wholeheartedly committed to trying. So, in whatever way works for you, we have to keep reminding ourselves of our commitment. We have to keep it alive and fresh. I think that's what it takes to maintain and strengthen our resolve. So, to end today, Mark Nunberg, who's a insight teacher, he poses a question that I want to offer for us to reflect on. And that is, what is it that we really love enough that we can, excuse me, oh, let me start from the beginning again. What is it that we really love enough that we can be committed to it wholeheartedly? Thank you all. And let's practice together. Let's take our time to bring our attention to our bodies first, as we always do, offering them whatever it is that they need in this moment. And not forgetting all those smaller places that hold tension, our jaws, our eyes, our necks. Creating the space inside. And as that feels pretty complete, bringing yourself slowly and gently into a posture of stillness. Feeling yourself sitting, standing, lying down, whatever posture you're in this place. Feeling the sense of spaciousness around you. And as you bring your attention inward, the sense of space inside you as well. And just letting yourself settle. Perhaps with each out breath, consciously inviting yourself to settle just a bit more. And being interested in what your inward experience is right now. What's going on? What is arising for you? Everything is okay. Everything is welcome. Everything rests in the presence of kind awareness. When you become aware that your mind has wandered, gently bring yourself back to presence. And reflect for a moment that every time you return, you're strengthening your resolve and you're polishing your ability to rest with patience and with kindness. If your attention has become a little casual, if you're kind of in that daydreamy state, maybe just asking yourself that question. What is it to be wholeheartedly committed to my practice in this moment? What does that look like? In the last couple of minutes of our practice, let your awareness expand to take in all of us who are sitting here together today and practicing. And just noticing if that shared commitment, how it might strengthen you and support you. And I know for me, feeling hugely grateful for that. Thank you all so much for sharing the morning with us. Okay, I think we can all say our goodbyes.
Everybody.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Lovely Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad. Muchas gracias.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, take good care.
See
See
you
you
all.
today.
See you tomorrow. Bye, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you for your teaching, Lee.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.